Hi, I'm Angie Thomas, and I'm the author of The Hate You Give, On the Come Up, and Concrete Rose. And today I'm going to attempt to break down the Garden Heights universe for you all. Now, first off, Garden Heights was inspired by the neighborhood that I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, called Georgetown. And while there are some differences, there are a lot of similarities. While Georgetown is a neighborhood that's known for all the wrong reasons, it's still a neighborhood full of love and people who care about one another. I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for my neighborhood, and I can honestly say that my characters wouldn't be who they are if it weren't for Garden Heights. So now, let me attempt to break down the connections between all three books, and I'm going to start in chronological order. So first, we have Concrete Rose. Concrete Rose follows the story of Maverick Carter. Now, that name may be familiar to you all. Maverick is known in The Hate You Give as being Star's dad, but in Concrete Rose, he's a 17-year-old kid who's still trying to figure things out. Maverick and his girlfriend Lisa later on as teenagers become the parents of Star. But before they become the parents of Star, Maverick and a girl by the name of Aisha welcome a baby boy, Seven, into the world. And the birth of Seven for Maverick at 17 years old truly changes his life. But the whole situation with Seven and Aisha and Maverick is a little complicated because technically Aisha is the girlfriend of Maverick's best friend, King. Now, King and Aisha later on will have a daughter by the name of Kenya. And Kenya and Star become best friends. So yeah, the whole thing is messy. Seven, our little boy Seven, he ends up having sisters who are best friends. But everybody has so much love for one another despite things being complicated. So, in Concrete Rose, Maverick lives next door to a gentleman by the name of Mr. Wyatt. And Mr. Wyatt owns a grocery store. That grocery store later becomes Carter's grocery store in The Hate You Give. But as a 17-year-old kid, Maverick works there to earn money to help his mom and to take care of his son. Now, we see a scene in Concrete Rose where a woman by the name of Mrs. Jackson comes into Mr. Wyatt's store. That Mrs. Jackson happens to be the grandmother of Bree Jackson, the main character of On the Come Up. I hope you're keeping up because there's a lot of connections here. Now, another connection to Concrete Rose and On the Come Up is a scene in which Maverick and his cousin Dre are sitting in the car and they're hanging out and they're listening to music. And they happen to be listening to new music by a neighborhood rapper by the name of Lawless. Now, if you've read On the Come Up, that name is familiar because Lawless is Bree's dad. At the time and On the Come Up, he's deceased, but he's still a neighborhood legend who's known for making these amazing songs and for making a name for himself in the world before his untimely demise. And in Concrete Rose, he's still alive and he's thriving and he's on the come up, pun intended. Maverick ends up in a confrontation because of a situation regarding his cousin Dre, who is his best friend. He ends up in a confrontation with a neighborhood hustler by the name of Red. Now, Red is an interesting guy. He's a little sneaky. You can't really trust him. I'd say if this was Dora the Explorer, he'd be Swiper. But Red, we find out, has a girlfriend named Brenda. And Red and Brenda together have a son by the name of Khalil. And in Concrete Rose, we get to see this little baby Khalil, who we also later know to be the young man at the center of the story in The Hate You Give, who loses his life at the hands of police brutality. It was important for me to show my readers Khalil as a baby, because despite the fact that he loses his life so unexpectedly, and because his life is so short, I still wanted them to see him as this little baby with all the potential and promise in the world. Now, Brenda has a sister by the name of Tammy, and Tammy's best friend is Lisa. So that's how those two families end up connecting. Now, Lisa and her mother attend a church that's also the same church that the family of Bree and On the Come Up attends. So those families are also connected through that as well. Now, one more connection that I have to point out, and some readers have noticed this, but a lot of people have not, is that at the end of The Hate You Give, there's a scene where Star, Seven, and Devontae and Chris are all picked up by one of these neighborhood gangsters by the name of Goon. And there's a young lady in the back of the pickup truck named Bree. And at the time, she's Goon's niece. Well, technically, that was going to be Bree and On the Come Up, but I ended up changing some things. So if you look at the names Goon and then you look at the name Pooh, which turns out to be Bree's aunt and On the Come Up, you may see where I changed it up. but that was originally going to be Bree. But Bree does not make an appearance officially in The Hate U Give. So that's like a scrapped version of Bree. We're going to say there's more than one Bree in the neighborhood because there's more than one Bree in the world. So there you go. All right. Now, on the come up, Bree does make a trip to Maverick's store. And we get to see a little bit of that, or at least she mentions going to Maverick's store. So that was my way of connecting that to The Hate U Give. Now, I'm going to expand this universe a little bit more. You know, we got to do it kind of Marvel style and expand it. I hope you're keeping up. So in Concrete Rose, Maverick and Lisa take a trip and they go on a college tour visit. And they go to this college and they get taken around by a young mother. And that young mother's name is Deja. And Deja tells them she has a baby boy named Justice. Justice McAllister, in fact. Now, if you've read Dear Martin by Nick Stone or Dear Justice by Nick Stone, that name may be familiar. Yes, that's Justice McAllister from Dear Martin and his mother making an appearance in Concrete Rose. Now, I'm going to expand this universe a little bit more and connect it to yet another book universe. Now, if you've read Love Creekwood by my dear friend Becky Albertalli, you may have noticed that there's a scene where Star is mentioned. For those who don't know, I will explain that to you right now. So, Star in The Hate U Give is the cousin of Bram in Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Their moms are cousins. So Becky and I decided to make that connection, and she took it even further and made it into canon by putting it in Love Creekwood. So we've always said it's canon, but I'm telling you right now, confirming right now, yes, the Star that's mentioned in Love Creekwood is Star Carter from The Hate U Give. So in a lot of ways, the Simon verse and the Garden Heights verse, they're connected as well. And you never know what kind of connections I got coming up next. So keep being awesome, keep reading, and I'm going to keep writing for every single one of you. Bye.